Bridget, good evening. You could see me behind me. The sun is gone down in the neighborhood, and people are starting to prepare for what could be a very dangerous midweek leading into this brand new year of 2022. If we look at a graphic of the region of the South, tremendous temperatures that we're seeing. Most of the major cities somewhere in the 70s, some hitting the low 80s today. As a matter of fact, over 30 cities in the South could hit record highs today, and December could be the warmest month on record for the South. But to the storm system, roughly 22 million people across 13 states are potentially going to see a severe storm come through at some point tomorrow. That could include, as you've been forecasting, damaging winds, extreme precipitation and rain, hail could come down, and the possibility for tornadoes. We certainly hope that we do not see the kind of devastation that hit western Kentucky, Arkansas, and Tennessee and southern Illinois just 2 weeks ago. As you mentioned, many people are still displaced in that region. Over 1,200 missing alone, or not missing rather, but with no homes in Kentucky. Red Cross on the ground, FEMA trying to give out money as fast as possible, and the governor of Kentucky still trying to comfort that region, saying that it could take years to restore and revive some of these communities hit so hard. Now here in the state of Alabama, where I'm at in Metro Birmingham, they have not had a tornado warning for 120 days. That's a long stretch for this pocket. Tornado season here in Alabama goes from November to May, but having a system come through with the potential that we could see tomorrow is not a common practice. So many people here, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, even into Georgia, Tennessee, are literally on edge this evening, watching their radars on Fox Weather app and trying to just hope that the coming days, and specifically tomorrow, do not entail what we saw a couple weeks ago. And we have to mention, we have to look ahead to the weekend, New Year's Day and even Sunday. We could see another round, another potential for these severe systems bringing in those damaging winds, heavy rains, hail, and the possibility for tornadoes, Bridget.
Yeah, always looking ahead even farther out. But hopefully tomorrow, Alabama continues that streak, makes it to 121 days without a tornado warning. And of course, we'll be tracking it here at Fox Weather. Robert Ray, thanks so much.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.